Hey pal, how you doing? Tony Lockwood here in Cleveland, Ohio, at the Convention Center, not the Hall of Fame, unfortunately. We're at the CAASE 18 conference. Digital engineering is a co-host with Nathan for the show, and I have a smart person here sitting across the table from me. Will you please introduce yourself and tell us who you are, where you're from, and what's in it for me?
Sure. I'm Will Cottay. I'm the Director of Cloud Solutions for Penguin Computing. Penguin's actually located in Silicon Valley, in Fremont, California. I'm not. I'm from South Florida.
South Florida.
But Penguin's been has been a leading supplier of open source hardware and software for about 20 years now, both in the data center and high performance computing. About 9 years ago, our customers told us that they didn't want to buy hardware anymore, but they still had to solve the same problems.
Right.
And so we started what we call Penguin Computing on Demand, or POD.
Yeah.
And that's a true HPC cloud service. So on the back end, we've got traditional HPC clusters, and on the front end, we've got a cloud front end, so it makes it easy for people to work remotely. And that includes both a portal to manage their accounts and self-provision everything, and a 3D workstation. So people are used to working with, say, Ansys Workbench. They don't have to change what they normally do to use it remotely.
Tell us about their job management type software. How is that handled? You handle the provisioning and all that, but I get a bunch of engineers in their stable, we'll say. How is that? How do you handle that with them?
Well, so for the front end, it's all virtualized, and so they can come in and create their own login nodes and create their own workstations. And then on the back end, being a traditional HPC cluster, we use a regular cluster scheduler. So we use Moab as our scheduler and Torque as our resource manager. And people just submit jobs to the cluster like they would at a home HPC cluster.
Right.
It looks exactly the same way as one you might have in your industry, except for some security bells and whistles. So you can't see any other users can't see you. You never share resources when another user's using them. But there's no need to install software. All the software is installed. All you have to do is come and run.
Yeah, come and run it. That's the way to do it. And I would imagine that is really what your clients were asking for. They didn't want the hardware, as you said, but they didn't want the headaches of figuring it all out. And
Exactly.
What do I do? I got a job to do. It's like I don't manage a computer cluster.
And so we do all the cluster management. And of course, with 20 years of Linux experience, we're real good with clusters.
Right, yeah, I do.
And then our sysadmins, we select them mostly from industry. And so we've got sysadmins with PhDs in computational chemistry, for instance. So they can talk to the customer in their own language.
Yeah, that's actually a very good,
good
thing, because one of the old problems has always been that these guys have to be computer operator when they. I really want to do this. Yeah. So it almost sounds. There's the buzzword and the software about democratizing it, and this is like democratizing the hardware. Really, what you're talking about here. Very good. Now, so it's on demand, so that brings up the cost issue. That must, how do you do it? Do you do it by the month?
No.
You have a monthly, like a dues at a club or something.
No, we don't actually. It's truly on demand. It doesn't cost anything to sign up for an account, and you only get billed for the actual time that your job's running on a compute node. So the time getting it set up and all that sort of thing doesn't cost you anything. And then we just meter it down to the second, essentially. Well, we take a 3-second shot. So you might get 2 seconds for free sometimes.
There you go. Yeah, that's all right. As you can tell, I like seconds for free myself.
And then our storage, we just charge by what you use. And bandwidth, we don't charge for at all.
You don't.
So your typical bill is how many compute hours did you use and how much storage did you use.
That's good. And have maximums on it, or do you have frequent flyer rates or anything
Yeah, we do.
like that? Yeah,
We do. We've
yeah,
got government rates. We've got education
University,
rates,
right.
and then we've got volume rates too.
Yeah.
And all the rates are freely accessible on our website.
Now, your company has been very interesting. On side, I know it's not quite your angle, but petabyte in a day.
Yes.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good record.
That was very good.
Yeah.
That was, what, 2 months ago?
About 2 months ago,
Yeah. That was pretty good. And look that up, petabyte a day. Real fascinating bit of work. Now, do you require any sort of training of the people who want to use it, or is it that simple?
It's pretty simple to use.
Yeah.
So we run the gamut.
Right.
So we come with sometimes we get customers that really have no HPC experience at all.
Yeah.
And so we'll help them onboard, and we'll help them perhaps learn how to submit a job to the cluster and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they'll be running something like ANSYS Workbench, and so we've got the whole back end worked out for that, so they can submit things right from Workbench.
Right. Yeah. Penguin's the ANSYS solutions provider.
We are, yeah, we're right.
Advanced solution
provider,
and,
I believe.
And the same, you have the same sort of top-notch relationship with NVIDIA as well.
Mm-hmm. And many other software companies.
Yeah, and many other.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Very good. So, where's it going?
Just getting bigger.
Where's it going? I mean, the reason it came to you for more power is it kept getting bigger.
Yeah.
And that, what are you going to do? You're going to start taking over small towns, and and just making it a data center. Of course, the hardware is also coming down.
The hardware's getting more compact, but it still sucks a lot of electricity.
It still does.
So,
a lot of AC.
Yeah. But that's one of the advantages we have at Penguin is I use all our own hardware.
Yeah.
So as soon as we start to see peaks, and we know people don't want to wait. If they wanted to wait, they'd run on their own clusters and their own machines.
Yeah.
So as soon as we start to see peaks, we over-provision.
Yeah.
Then we can just get more hardware for the factory.
Yeah. Now, for simulation users, you mentioned the ANSYS, so they're running a big Fluent analysis.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these guys will say, well, why should I give them? I can tie up my workstation for a week and a half, or I could give it to these guys.
Well, they could tie up their workstation for a week and a half, or they could get it done this afternoon.
Right. Yeah, that's the big.
And that's the key.
Yeah, and it's getting faster.
Yeah.
It's getting faster, and
yeah, we just
stuff.
Just last month, we added about 11,000 cores of the new Skylake processors.
Oh yeah, 11,000.
Yeah.
Very good.
And they're starting to fill up quick, so we'll be doing that again soon, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah. Well, engineering simulation, like nature abhors a void.
Yes.
It just goes right in. Okay, now, do you have a special website or a sub-site off of the Penguin?
Actually, if you just go to penguincomputing.com, you'll see the cloud button.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you can go directly to pod.penguincomputing.com.
Pod. Yeah, that's what they were. Okay, because if you want more information about it, you just heard it. But I will also have a list of websites for you to go to, dear viewer, to get more information about these guys. I'll send you the link, and you can go and explore it. This is terrific stuff. This is where you need to be. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Tony.
Have fun and enjoy the rest of the show, and I'm glad you could stop by.
Sure will. Thank you.
Thank you.